Most foreign and even many local tourists are aware of a world-famous cool, misty health resort in the central hills of Sri Lanka called Nuwara Eliya. But they do not know that there is a tea plantation by the name of Nuwara Eliya which was established relatively in recent times. This tea estate perhaps is the only tea plantation which was developed without the involvement of British planters. In this episode, I will try to cover details behind this plantation, but before doing so, let me give some interesting history about the city of Nuwara Eliya. Located at an altitude of 1868 meters or 6128 feet above sea level, with a picturesque landscape and cool climate, Nuwara Eliya is one of the most important tea producing regions of Sri Lanka. One side of the city is overlooked by the tallest mountain in Sri Lanka, Piduruthalakala. In the month of April every year, people from all over the country, especially from the city of Colombo, where the temperature peaks, also coinciding with Sri Lankan New Year season coupled with school holidays, flock to Nuwara Eliya with their families and friends, making it the most popular mass holiday resort in the island. The city welcomes the visitors and makes the most of the seasonal business by using the golf course, selling flowers and hosting events such as pony races, motor rallies and boat rides in Lake Gregory. Thousands of visitors, young and old, never fail to invade Victoria Park for a day's relaxation. While going into the history of Nuwara Eliya, I stumbled upon loads of information as to how an area of thick forest became a most sought after health resort. According to history, a hunting party led by Dr. John Davy discovered Nuwara Eliya in the year 1818. Sir Edward Barnes, who was the governor of Ceylon from 1824 to 1831, was informed of this discovery. He built his holiday home in Nuwara Eliya, spending £8,000 and named it Barnes Hall, which is known as the famous Grand Hotel today. It has more than 150 rooms and is considered a prestigious and very expensive hotel to stay. Sir Edward Barnes made Nuwara Eliya a place for people to live, and he was known as the father of the pioneer Nuwara Eliya. However, the city was actually planned to resemble an English village by Sir Samuel White Baker in the mid-19th century, using the designs and names for houses and gardens built during his time. Samuel Baker was born on 8 June 1821 in London to his father Samuel Baker Sr., who was a sugar merchant, banker and ship owner from Thorn Grove, Worcestershire. Samuel White's many travels all over the world brought him to Ceylon in 1846. In the following year, he founded an agricultural settlement in Nuwara Eliya. In the 1840s, the climate of Nuwara Eliya had become the primary sanctuary of the British planters and civil servants. They called it Little England and made their hill country retreat where they indulged in fox and deer hunting and elephant hunting. Perhaps the beginning of Nuwara Eliya as a sanatorium of Ceylon can be reiterated from the mouth of the very person who developed it. He referred this place as Nuwara Eliya from his book titled The Rifle and Hound in Ceylon, 1853, by Sir Samuel White Baker. Quote, dense forests reign where now not even the stump of a tree is standing. The wind howled over hill and valley. The dank moss hung from the scathed branches. The deep morass filled the hollows. But all is changed by the hand of civilization and industry. The dense forests and rough plains, which still form the boundaries of the cultivated land, only add to the beauty. The monkeys and parrots are even now chattering among the branches, and occasionally the elephant in his nightly wanderings trespasses upon the fields, unconscious of the oasis within his territory of savage nature. The still twilight night is awakened by the harsh bark of the elk. The lofty mountains, grey with the silvery moonlight, echo back the sound, and the wakeful hounds answer the well-known cry by a prolonged and savage yell. This is Nuwara Eliya, the sanatorium of Ceylon, the most perfect climate of the world. It now boasts of a handsome church, a public reading room, a large hotel, the barracks, and about 20 private residences. Unquote. Beautifully written. There are hundreds of buildings which still retain the features from the colonial days among the thousands of new buildings which have sprung up all over Nuwara Eliya, making land prices here as high as in the capital Colombo. Old buildings such as the Queen's Cottage, General's House, Hill Club, Post Office and the Grand Hotel remind us of the British Empire which once rode high in the area. These buildings still maintain their old English-style gardens and lawns. Even newer buildings and their furniture or fittings often take the shape of the bygone days. The country's president and prime minister have their hill country official residences here. There is an interesting legend which most people of the Indian subcontinent must have read. According to the great Indian epic Ramayana, Ravana, king of Lanka, robbed Rama of his wife Sita, brought to Sri Lanka and kept her captive in a place called Tea Eliya. This place is about 4 kilometers from Nuwara Eliya on the Valimanda road. There is a Hindu temple on the spot and the famous Hangala botanical garden is situated close to the temple. The story of Ramayana tells that Hanuman, the leader of a monkey force, by lighting up his tail, punished Ravana by burning down Nuwara Eliya with the fire from his tail. Interestingly, the topsoil in Nuwara Eliya area is black in color and many people believe the fire described in the legend to be the reason for this unusual color. Until the turn of the century, no Sri Lankan owned any real estate property in Nuwara Eliya. Only 2 Sri Lankans owned houses here by 1910. They were Mahamudali Sir Solomon Dias Bandaranaike, he is the father of SWRD Bandaranaike, later Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, and Mr. F.C. Luce. It was only after the end of World War I in 1918 more Sri Lankans bought land and built houses here. Some of them include Sir Ponnambalam Arunachalam and ELFD Zoiza. Interestingly, Samuel Baker paid about Rs 25 per acre, while Sir Ponnambalam paid Rs 10,000 for half an acre. Now let us look at Nuwara Eliya Tea Plantation. In 1963, the then Member of Parliament for Nuwara Eliya, Mr. William Fernando, suggested in Parliament to clear virgin forests in the district and plant tea. His proposal was approved and soon thousands of villagers from areas like Shantipura, Rikilikaskada, Mandaram Nuwara, Valapane and Darawaya were settled down here. Planting tea was completed on 207 hectares, presently 188 hectares under tea, and a brand new factory in concrete structure was built. The factory was commissioned in the 1970s. The estate is situated 1828 meters above sea level in the central province in the Ramboda agroclimatic region classed as Western High at the foot of the Pithutalakala mountain range. A signboard giving details of the formation of this estate can be seen near the factory. Accordingly, the estate was planted by Sri Lankan planters and workforce comprises of 100% Sinhalese workers, something unique in the entire country. The factory presently produces about 426,000 kg tea per year. The estate can be reached from Gampala Nuwara Eliya Road, about 4 km from the city of Nuwara Eliya. The nearest railway station is located at Nanoya, about 10 km away. Visitors are greeted with a beautiful signboard made of an old roller table with eye-catching brass letters that read Nuwara Eliya Tea Processing Centre and with the letters Inverness in the centre, indicating the tea produced by this factory is under the selling mark Inverness. The estate is owned by Kallivalli Plantations and managed by Hayleys Limited. Workers of this estate, like most of the estates in the area, do not entirely depend on tea for their livelihood. Lands where no tea is grown are being used for growing vegetables, fruit trees and flowers. Numerous terraces have been made for growing potatoes, carrots, leeks and roses, and these plants look rich and well maintained. Tea plants in the Nuwara Eliya area region in general grow slowly due to the harsh climatic conditions. However, such slow growth make the tea bushes produce a distinct aroma, very special for Nuwara Eliya teas. The color of the brew is slightly yellowish and can be easily distinguished from other teas. Nuwara Eliya teas fetch very high prices in the Colombo auctions. Presently, Oliphant Estate is part of the Nuwara Eliya group, making the group 611 hectares in extent with 415 hectares under tea. It belongs to Kallivalli Plantations Limited under the management of Hayleys Limited. Oliphant Estate is situated at the Ramboda end and is the place where the first 30 plants sent from China were planted by Lawrence Oliphant. Lawrence Oliphant expanded his tea acreage to 100 acres. However, there is another interesting piece of story. The estate is situated directly above the Nuwara Eliya golf course. The place was coincidentally known as Elephant Plain long ago. where many elephants lived. Even today, there are graves of 2 elephant killers at the golf course. According to an account, quote, Ibn Shan Gordon Menro, birth 1814 1110 and death 1841 124, dead in Elephant Plain, unquote. The other one is written as Major William Thomas Rogerson, dead 1814 6 7, that is 7 June 1814. It is said that Major William Thomas Rogerson has killed more than 400 elephants. Most unbelievable, but it is believed by many that once in 7 years his grave is attacked by thunder shocks. Even today you can see the cracked grave closer to the golf course. People believe that it is the curse of God on the elephant killer. I am unable to verify whether the name of this estate originated from Mr. Lawrence Oliphant or from Elephant Plain, or do they refer to 2 separate places? An account of Ceylon under British rule 1795 to 1932 says, Sir Anthony Oliphant's tea estate, the Oliphant Estate, situated in the hill country in Nuwara Eliya, was the first estate to grow tea in Ceylon when 30 plants were smuggled from China. Sir Anthony and his son Lawrence are both credited with being the first people to grow tea in Ceylon. I reckon the Oliphant Estate produced some excellent black teas up to late 1980s, and later Oliphant Factory was converted to produce green tea. Oliphant tea leaves have a special flavor. During the extremely cold and misty period of December to February, tea bushes here are affected by frost and immediately afterwards emit tea leaves with an extraordinary flavor and quality. The special quality has been found to be more favorable for green tea manufacture, thus it has become a much sought after green tea in the tea market. There are 2 village settlements bordering Oliphant. It is understood when Mr. William Fernando was Member of Parliament, he converted a piece of state land between the estate and the municipal area to settle down poor landless people in 2 settlements, namely Shantipura and Kalapura. Many of the villagers from these settlements work on Nuwara Eliya estate. The view from Kalapura is fascinating. At the city of Nuwara Eliya, a vast forest area, the Nuwara Eliya lake and television towers of a private television station can be seen from here, also attracting many tourists to this place. Oliphant once had a large patch of potato cultivation, which seemed to have been abandoned at present due to some unknown reason. It was unfortunate the weather was awfully misty and cold and when I wanted to research the estate further, making me miserable and tired. Even the holiday resort atmosphere of the city had vanished, with far less crowd than on a bright sunny day. Earlier, the group manager of the estate, Mr. Nuwara Eliya, known to my brother, had arranged for my entourage to make a quick visit to the factory. His assistant, Mr. Kasun, was available in no time for me to take some quick photos of the factory from outside under thick fog and cold wind conditions. Nuwara Eliya is a place no one can forget easily. The city owes much to the British planters, Sir Edward Barnes and Mr. Samuel White Baker, who converted thick forest into one of the most attractive health resorts of Sri Lanka. Nuwara Eliya estate has subsequently become another important milestone in the country's tea industry.
Extract from 8 Years Wanderings in Ceylon by Samuel White Baker. Quote, In my determination to reside at Nuwara Eliya, I hope to be able to carry out some of those visionary plans for its improvement which I have before suggested, and I trusted to be enabled to effect such a change in the rough face of nature in that locality as to render a residence at Nuwara Eliya something approaching to a country life in England, with the advantage of the whole of Ceylon for my manor, and no expense of gamekeepers. To carry out these ideas it was necessary to set to work, and I determined to make a regular settlement at Nuwara Eliya, sanguinely looking forward to establishing a little English village around my own residence. Accordingly, I purchased an extensive tract of land from the government, at 20 shillings per acre. I engaged an excellent bailiff, who, with his wife and daughter, with 9 other emigrants, including a blacksmith, were to sail for my intended settlement in Ceylon. I purchased farming implements of the most improved descriptions, seeds of all kinds, sawmills, etc., etc., and the following stock: a half-bred bull, Durham and Hereford, a well-bred Durham cow, 3 rams, a South Down, Leicester, and Cotswold, and a thoroughbred entire horse by Charles XII. Also a small pack of foxhounds and a favorite greyhound, Bran. My brother had determined to accompany me, and with emigrants, stock, machinery, hounds, and our respective families, the good ship Earl of Hardwicke, belonging to Messrs. Green & Co., sailed from London in September 1848. I had previously left England by the overland mail of August to make arrangements at Nuwara Eliya for the reception of the whole party." Unquote.
This is the end of my episode on Nuwara Eliya Tea Plantation and some information of the famous city of Nuwara Eliya. I hope to take you to another tea processing center near Nuwara Eliya called Labukale in my next episode. If you like my videos, please press the like button and subscribe so that I would be encouraged to continue my work with improvements. Thank you all.